What is up, guys? PSF Vektor here, bringing you League of Legends Pointers Episode 1, How to 5v5. Now, for those of you that saw my channel announcement video about how awesome everyone is, then you understand and you know why I'm doing this. For those of you who don't, I'm basically doing this because I got some suggestions and some people were asking for it, so I decided to do it, and it seemed like a pretty good idea because there's not much content out there on general basics and pointers when it comes to 5v5, whether it be like the metagame, when to teamfight, when to Baron, when to Dragon, when to push a lane, how do you know all these different things. Now obviously this is a very broad topic and there's a lot of avenues that I probably could have explored with this. But for this video, I just kind of wanted to focus on things like I just said. These are the specifics I want to focus on. What the metagame looks like, when to team fight, when to Dragon and Baron, and who to focus in fights. Now, this video isn't for players who have experience under their belt, although I'm pretty sure there are people that I've played with in ranked matches who could use this, something like this, and they need to know stuff like this because obviously they don't know what they need to know. This video is more for those who are either new to League of Legends or new to 5v5 or just want to learn and watch some pointers in a 5v5 match. Now, section 1 here, we're just going to talk about current meta. For those of you who don't know what metagame is the standard of normality in the game. This is usually set by like elite players who whether directly or indirectly, decide what's good and what's not good. This specifically, what I'm going to talk about metagame is where certain roles go and what the certain roles do in the game. So the current metagame for lane assignments is to have top lane be a solo lane or 1v1. Usually both champions are considered bruisers or tanky DPS. However, obviously there are certain ranged AD and AP champions that still do very well top lane. Mid lane is usually an AP champion designated as the AP carry. This is also a solo lane, and more likely, often than not, they are AP. Although there are bruiser counters that can go mid. If like you want to switch your AP, send your AP top, and send your bruiser mid, they can counter some stronger AP champions. Bottom lane is the only lane with two champions in it. The support and the AD carry. Now, obviously, the support is a 0 CS champion, so they don't need minion kills. So the AD carry is designated AD ranged carry. So in that lane, the AD gets all the minion kills and gets farmed. Finally, obviously, the 5th champion is a jungler. Most people know that. The jungler clears jungle camps to level and ganks for his teammates. Now, because of the jungler, you pretty much give yourself all 3 lanes with 3 high CS, high item build, high damage champions. Obviously top is 1v1, so they're going to get all the farm. Or mid is 1v1, so they're going to get all the farm. And then obviously bottom, like I said, since the support is 0 CS, the AD carry is going to get all the farm. And then obviously the jungler has all the jungle creeps to himself, unless he gets counter jungled, of course. But I'm going to go into more detail about each of these roles, obviously, in future videos. I'm not sure how many people know that. And I already have my support one set up. So what I'm going to do is kind of go role by role. So the first video after this will be support. And then maybe like I'll go through AD carry, AP carry, jungle, and tanky DPS or solo top. And kind of go through the roles and what their role is as a part of the team and in the laning phase and different aspects of the game. Alright, so section 2, we're going to do when to Baron / Dragon. Now, obviously this depends on who's alive or dead on both teams, or where maybe certain members of the enemy team are. Now, the same goes for Baron and Dragon. Both of these are very similar. The only thing that's different about Baron and Dragon is you obviously need less people to do Dragon than you do to do Baron. So, like if you say, let's say, you know that 2 of the enemies just went back to base. This is a very good time to at least to do either of these 2 objectives. Say it's pretty early game. You're bot lane with the support. You're with your bot lane with your AD carry, and you send them back. you see the jungler's top, and your jungler's bottom, go ahead and do dragon. There's not really much that's going to be able to stop you, especially if you don't know, especially if the jungler's not there. A good time to do Baron, obviously, along with going back to base, is if you killed anywhere between 2 or all of the enemies. I would recommend having more dead for like attempting a Baron than a dragon. You can still pull off dragons with no one on the enemy team dead. It pretty much depends on where they are on the map. Obviously, you got to be careful when you're deciding to do objectives. A mistake and failed attempt could turn the game in the enemy's favor. It's not too bad for a dragon, but a Baron, if you lose a Baron and a Baron fight, and I mean even if you were winning, they can start winning just because of that. Obviously, always make sure you have vision of the surrounding area as well. You don't need as much vision if you know that they're dead, or you are 100% positive you know where they are, obviously. But I mean, it's very, very important to have that vision and to know where they are. I can't tell you how many times I've been on teams doing Baron that have 0 vision, only to get it stolen and you get aced. It's all too common. You see the videos of people going in, like 1 or 2 people by themselves, stealing Baron, getting out, or killing a couple people and getting Baron and running out. So it's very, very important to know when to do Baron and Dragon. Obviously, I don't know if you know, a lot of times when you watch professionals, if say like the one team makes a mistake and they're like, hey, let's do Dragon, we're not really worried about them doing Baron. So the enemy team goes to do Baron or Dragon. Now, if you have a quick Baron time and it's pretty late in the game, that's a free Baron for you. So there's just certain things you got to watch. Vision, obviously, it all comes down to vision and knowing where the enemy is. You know they're dead, go ahead. You know they went back and you have time to do it, go ahead. You know that they're on the other side of the map, go ahead. Those are the best times that you're going to get those things done. Alright, so section 3, kind of going to go into when to team fight. Now, this is a very important question to ask yourself throughout the match. You want to be asking yourself this the whole time. You must be able to decide which team's stronger at the current time. This usually is decided if players on a team have been fed kills, have good items, or good CS for like current game time. Say your AD carry is super farmed and is fed. Obviously, you're going to want to try and force some team fights, because more than likely, if they're a decent enough AD carry and your team kind of works well together, you're going to win those fights because he's so fed. If you feel your team has this advantage, you should make sure your team knows it. Feel free to let your team know that. So hey guys, let's group up. We have a strong team. Let's get ready to fight. At this point, obviously, you need to know the best place for your team to fight. Some teams fight better in small areas, like of the jungle. Some teams fight better in the open. Obviously, it also depends on the enemy team. If you have a very, very AoE heavy team, you're not going to want to fight them in a thin area, like in the middle of the jungle, let's say by blue buff. You're not going to want to fight them there, because their AoEs will still kill you, even if you have a fed champion. Obviously, if your team's fed, you can possibly force Baron fights. This goes kind of back to Baron and Dragon. If you're stronger, you can it's like, bait them, not necessarily, but like try to bait them into a fight. If you start doing the objectives, more than likely they'll have wars. They know what you're doing. Kind of get them to go in and try and fight you, and force a fight that way. Obviously, if your team's behind and someone on the other team is fed, you kind of want to do the opposite. Your best option is probably like, you want to sit back and try and farm as much as you can. Try and pick people off one at a time. That's really important. Winning those small, tiny engagements is probably the easiest way to catch back up in a game. Far too many times I've seen greed kick in. You kill 2 of them, and you're like, oh, let's go get the rest of their team. You start chasing another person, and then all of a sudden, instead of being up 2-0 in a team fight, and you could have walked away with catching up with that advantage in that one specific fight, you walk out and it's 3-3. So you didn't gain anything. 3 people died. You got 3 kills. You're not really gaining anything from that. Like, they're still ahead. So it's very important to kind of know like how the game's going, and it's very important to realize what you have as in your team. If you know that your team is lacking on damage, don't force fights 5v5. That's kind of like asking to lose. So that's kind of about it. When to team fight, not much more to it. It really comes down to a lot of, like I said, deciding what you have and what you don't have. And you need to be honest with yourself with what you have. You can't be like, I'm the 80 carry guys, I got so much farm, we can do this. No, because like, if you're not as farmed as you think, and your team loses the fight, then you're even more behind. Alright, and the last section we got here, section 4. Who to focus in fights. Obviously, this all depends on your role. Now, each role has its own specific tasks and fights, and obviously, like I said, I'm going to go into detail about those in future videos. However, the majority of the time, no matter who you are, you're going to want to focus the carries on the enemy team. This can be the AD, the AP, sometimes even, you know, that top talent who your freaking stupid freaking teammate fed, just like GG, talent fed. But like those are who you're going to want to target the most. Obviously, it also depends on who's doing the most damage to your team, or who you specifically should be focusing because of your role. So like, if you're the bruiser or the tank, your job is to either obviously keep them off your carries, or, you know, like, oh, I'm Shen, I'm gonna taunt their carry. That's kind of what you do. So like that really goes back to the roles. But obviously, it's pretty obvious you want to focus who's the most fed, who's doing the most damage on the team. That's really all I have, guys. I'm not really sure what else you guys want. If you have any other questions about 5v5 or any pointers that you think I missed and should have talked about, let me know, and I will make a follow-up video to this one specifically for those. Also, if you just have something you want to mention, just leave it in the comments for everyone. Kind of like I said in the previous video, I want this channel to be like a community. I want it to be your channel as much as mine. So whatever you want, I'm going to do it. I want to make the best quality videos for you guys. That's like period, bam. Best quality videos, straight up. Like I said, these videos aren't for me, they're for you. Without your support, people watching my videos, I really have nothing. Like, it's just like, oh, I'm just another guy making YouTube videos. There's millions of those people just making YouTube videos. The goal of mine is to see the LoL community improve in their gameplay and knowledge whenever they can. So if there's people that don't know things, I don't think we should sit there and be like, oh my god, you suck. No, like, ask them be like, hey, like, what are you confused about? What don't you understand? Like, hey man, I really don't know how to play this champion, or like, I don't know what to do in this role. Great, that's what this channel is for. Like, go find a champion, tell me a champion you want, and there you go. Bam. You learn the basics about that champion, kind of the basic item build. It's better than the recommended item building game, honestly. So yeah, don't ever be afraid to admit you don't know something. That's like the biggest thing for me. I always you know, make a mistake, admit it. Don't know something, admit it. It's not gonna get you anywhere pretending like you know something when you don't. So with that, I'm gonna end, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, comment, like, and subscribe. Peace.